This is Chunk Yanil. I spent 1,000 hours completing every possible task in Yanil. Since then, I've spent another 1,000 exploring the world one chunk at a time, completing every task in an area before moving on to the next. The life of a one chunk man isn't easy. I've had to come up with unconventional solutions for unexpected challenges, but there's one type of chunk that takes this to the next level: the Death Chunk. You ever seen somebody do this? I mean this? Do this? This? Yeah! You ever seen a guy get a pair of gardening boots off a farmer before? Bet not. You know what that is? That is a chunk task complete, baby. I have already spent probably about 100 hours in this chunk so far, the Ardougne farm chunk. And I've only got one real task left, which is 95 cooking. I need that level to bake a summer pie, which is one of the most powerful food items in the game, but that is quite the grind. Thankfully for me, I'm starting this episode at level 91 cooking, but that's still almost 3 million XP needed. I've got big plans for how to tackle cooking, but before that, I need to bring something to your attention. The summer pie is the last task before I roll another chunk. On the one hand, great, we should be rolling a chunk pretty soon if my plan works out. On the other hand, rolling a chunk is terrifying right now. Last episode, I left off with a statistic that I have a 1 in 3 chance to roll a death chunk. Like, a real death chunk. Last time I rolled, I lost my final safeguard against two of the most brutal chunks possible, Taverly and Falador, which each have massive combat grinds hunting for rare drops. And my best gear still looks like this. There is a solution which we'll talk about later, but for now, it's important to know that rolling a new chunk comes with massive risks. Something truly incredible is about to happen, something I hope no one else has ever done in the history of RuneScape. Right here, level 92 cooking, only churning cheese. I haven't trained my cooking since getting 91 a few episodes ago, but I've been AFK churning cheese while editing the last 2 videos. This is an insanely slow process. Each cheese takes about 20 seconds to make between milking the cow and churning. And if we take a look at the bank, check it out. We've got over 9,000 cheese. This is probably at least 50 hours of cheese AFKing while editing, which I guess tells you how much time goes into the process behind the scenes. Anyway, 92 cooking is a great start, but I need 3 more levels, a combined 2.2 million XP. For context, that's the same amount of XP as getting from level 1 to level 81. And I don't plan on churning cheese for that. No, what we need is a cooking master plan. And this may seem random, but here's a farming level as a reminder that I'm working toward the passive task we left off with last episode to get 82 farming. The reason I'm showing you this now is that farming is going to play a key role in the 2.2 million cooking experience master plan. Now you may be sitting there thinking, wait, Josh, why do we need a cooking master plan? Didn't you just say that you got to level 91 cooking in the past? Why not just do what you did for that again? And that would be a great idea if it was possible. Unfortunately, the method I used to get to 91 cooking was an exploit on the fishing trawler that has since been patched, so it's now impossible. Although, the fishing trawler is still a source of fish, and while it might not be hundreds and thousands of fish per hour, it could still be a good option, so why don't we go test it out? It has been quite some time since I've been out on the trawler, and I heard there's actually apparently a change they made, which I feel probably entirely responsible for, so I'm excited to see that. Gonna do my good old soloing method. Hopefully I still remember how to do this, otherwise I'm gonna end up in the water. What a familiar sight. It really has been too long. Let's freaking do this. And as you can see here, the Kraken on the north side of the boat is finally actually facing the boat. He's no longer facing into the water. This was changed not too long ago, pretty much entirely because I complained about it, so I'm feeling pretty proud to have actually made a positive impact on this minigame. Oh, god damn it. Yeah, I don't still have it. I think I had some bad luck there. Okay, let's try that one more time. Successful game. Let's take a look at exactly how much we get from this. Don't think it's gonna be quite what I'm used to. Wait, what the? Is that a razor?
Oh, sorry, that must be mine. I accidentally dropped it overboard on my last trip out to sea. Don't know what I'd do without my Manscaped.
Manscaped. Why does that sound so familiar?
The Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra from Manscaped.
Oh, right. Manscaped, global lifestyle brand, men's grooming. They help you shave your balls.
Yep, your balls will thank you, but so will your face. The razor you just recovered is actually the Chairman Pro, Manscaped's latest upgrade in smooth shave technology. It comes with 2 interchangeable skin-safe blade heads, the 4-blade foil for an extra close shave, and the stubble trimmer for when you want a rugged look.
Well, I am quite rugged.
I've also noticed that you have multiple polygons on your face. 2, perhaps even 3. Worry not, as the Flex Adjust technology allows the head to adjust to the contours of your face and neck, getting those hard-to-reach spots.
I do have multiple polygons.
And it's waterproof. See, still working even after you fished it out of the sea.
I did fish it out of the sea. Look, I don't know if I need it for myself, but I have been thinking about getting a gift for my local tool leprechaun. You know, he could use a trim up.
Of course! The Chairman Pro makes for the perfect gift this holiday season, whether it's for yourself, your loved one, or your leprechaun. Plus, you can use promo code JOSHIG for 20% off your order, plus free shipping.
Weird that they would use my name for a promo code, but okay. Thanks, Manscaped. So all in all, this is our reward. Not even one full inventory of fish over the course of 6 minutes or so. This probably comes out somewhere in the ballpark of maybe 40,000 XP per hour, which isn't the worst, but probably not how I got to 91 cooking in the first place, given that I still have a couple million XP still left to go. Another option is literally the exact opposite, just fishing up shrimps and anchovies. See how much I get in 6 minutes of this. Okay, yeah, turns out this is extremely slow cooking XP per hour, but it is infinitely more AFK. Neither of these are very good, hence why we need a master plan. So let me explain it to you. I've actually been preparing for this subtly behind the scenes for weeks now. The astute amongst you might have noticed what was right next to my 50-hour cheese stack. An almost equally big stack of tomatoes. Now, when I started AFK churning cheese, I had no real plans besides just some very slow passive cooking XP in the background. But at the same time, I had been farming tomatoes as I got started with the farming grind. One day I looked at my bank and suddenly the gourmet pizza chef that has always lived within me came springing forth. I had a revelation. Pizzas are worth 143 XP each. And not only could I bake about a bazillion pizzas, but I could add pineapple to them as well for a total of 188 XP each. This stack of cheese has actually become my savior and should take me most of the way to 95 cooking on its own. There is one more step to the master plan to finish up the grind, but we'll get to that in a sec. The only downside to making pizzas is that there's approximately 1 million steps to making them, so it's kinda gonna look like I'm just doing random stuff for a while. For example, right now I'm filling up 9,000 jugs of water to combine with pots of flour in order to make pizza dough. One super convenient thing is that the Port Khazar General Store sells 30 pots of flour per world, so I'm gonna be able to stock up on these super easily. And about $150,000 later, there's 9,000 pots of flour. This is definitely a good method, but it is kind of expensive, all things being relative in the world of a one-chunk man. Taking some steps to enact the final part of the cooking master plan, we're planting some watermelon seeds right now for the first time. This is the little-known art of making a scarecrow. Sack on the spear, the very first crop of watermelons ever. Look at that XP. But now we're gonna use this here to create a scarecrow. There we go. 25 farming XP. Wait, that's actually kind of interesting. This thing will protect my sweet corn from disease, which was the whole point of all of this. That's the last step of the cooking master plan. I'm gonna be farming sweet corn to bank some passive cooking XP. Oh, look at that. It's so beautiful. Every single one of these cooks for 100 cooking XP, which should add up really nicely over time. And there you go, when you stop farming tomatoes, you get farming levels 64 farming. It's gonna be going up very slowly over the course of the next 2, 3, 4, 5 episodes. And now that I've set the sweet corn plan into motion and gathered all the ingredients, it's time to become a gourmet pizza chef and go through all the steps to make 9,000 pineapple pizzas. I gotta say, making these pizza bases has got to be one of the most annoying processes in RuneScape. It's like a 10-second AFK, so not long enough to do anything in between. I keep looking away and realizing I've been accidentally AFKing for like 20 seconds, which is just too long. And that is all of the pizza bases made. While we go through all the steps to make these, we're gonna total up the time each one takes so we can get a nice final count at the end. So far we filled up 9,000 jugs of water, which took about 5 hours. Bought 9,000 pots of flour, which took maybe 3 hours, and making all the pizza dough took at least 6 hours, if not a little bit more. Somehow I have spent the last 8 hours smashing whole entire tomatoes onto pizza bases, but now we have 9,232 incomplete pizzas. Not sure why this one felt a lot faster, but that is all of the cheese applied. Another 6 or 7 hours of straight chefing it up. We got over 9,000 raw pizzas, so the only thing left to do is to cook them up. Cooking at the Port Khazard Range, a very familiar site. This is where I got to 91 cooking. Let's get to 95 here. Man, these farming levels come a little bit faster when you're not just farming tomatoes over and over. 65 farming. Cooking level number 2 of the episode, 93. Getting up there. 2 more to go. Let's see if we have enough supplies to finish it off. While I do some cooking in the background, there's something I want to talk about. Last episode, I got this comment about my current death chunk situation. They suggested applying a lock and key analogy, which is actually a great idea. Think of it like this. A death chunk is a roadblock, halting progress. It's like a lock, but certain other chunks may be able to act as a key, opening the lock and making the grinds much faster and more bearable. A simple example of this would be if I rolled the East Ardougne chunk. It has a level 90 agility requirement. That's the lock. Right now my best agility method is insanely slow, but if I rolled the Sears Village chunk, I would get access to one of the best agility courses, and thus it acts as a key. So what are my other death chunks and what are their keys? First and foremost are the 2 chunks I enabled last episode, Taverly and Falador. Why are they death chunks? Taverly has 2 insanely rare drops from monsters in the dungeon, a 1 in 32,000 smoldering stone from hellhounds, and a 1 in 10,000 draconic visage from black dragons. Falador has a similar issue. The mole boss, an incredibly slow and annoying to kill enemy, can be accessed here, and it has a 1 in 3,000 drop of the mole pet. The key to these locks is one item, a bowstring. Ranged is essentially required to kill these things. I don't have consistent access to magic, and I'd get destroyed in one-on-one melee combat. But if I rolled a chunk with a bowstring or a spinning wheel to create one, I'd more than double my offensive ranged capabilities with a magic shortbow. And thankfully, I have 3 chunks that are 1 or 2 rolls away from getting me that bowstring, making each of these key chunks. Interestingly, the Witchhaven chunk is also a death chunk as it has hellhounds for that insane 1 in 32,000 drop, but it also has a spinning wheel, meaning it comes with a magic shortbow, so it's not quite as scary. Still, a key to this chunk would be a magic store, as hellhounds are weak to water spells. If I rolled Draenor Village and then Port Sarim, I would gain access to consistent runes, making this a key chunk. I have the Ardougne Castle chunk marked as a death chunk for a subtle reason. It has a furnace, and thus unlocks some pretty huge smithing and crafting grinds. But the biggest issue isn't just the furnace, it's the fact that my closest bank is in Port Khazard, 3 chunks away. If I had a closer bank, it would make this chunk not nearly as scary. This chunk right above it would be perfect, so that's another key. And honestly, connecting this section of chunks to any bank at all would be extremely useful for any grinds in the future here, so all of these bank chunks can get marked as keys. You may have noticed that this chunk, Sears Village, solves the agility issue, the bowstring issue, and the bank issue all in one, which is one of the reasons I've been wanting it for so long. My hope is still that I roll this above all else, but at the least I'm hoping to roll a key chunk before anything else. It has been a long day as a gourmet pizza chef. Everyone loves my pizzas, and that is good because I have 9,232 of them to deliver to the people. And as you can see, we're almost to the next level, but thankfully there's one more pretty important step with all those pizzas. Any self-respecting gourmet pizza chef has got to go grocery shopping every now and then. And right now that means for us, we got to pick up about 2,000 or so pineapples. The best part about pineapples is that each of them turn into 4 pineapple rings, which makes this the quickest part of the process by far. The final, very most important step of the pizza process is to eat a plain pizza. Wow, that's not what I meant to do. Is to use pineapple ring and turn all these pizzas into pineapple pizzas, netting us another large chunk of XP. Huge moment in the pizza chef industry. 94 cooking, just 1 level to go. 826,000 XP. Let's see if we can get there. We don't have a ton of pizza supplies left, but we do still have some stuff up our sleeve. Hopefully we can get there. Feels good to be putting the final touches on the pineapple pizza empire. That is 9,232 pineapple pizzas made. And the grand total time it took was, drumroll please, 48 hours. 2 straight days of my life just making pizzas in a video game.
And that leaves us with just 500,000 XP left to go.
Now, for those of you who are very much up on your Chunkinil lore and or bank contents, I don't know who that applies to, probably, hopefully nobody. I do have 2,300 raw sea turtles sitting here, which if you look at the estimated XP from that, it's almost exactly what we need. Unfortunately, because these are such high level food, I'm gonna burn quite a few of these, so that's why we've been saving up all of this sweet corn, almost 1,500 of it already. Tells you how long I've been making those pizzas, so we can for sure get this final level and roll the next chunk. Let's do it.
Just finished up the last inventory of turtles, and as you can see, we are just a little under 100k XP away. It's a good thing I farmed up all this corn.
And it comes down to the very last one of the inventory, or 95 cooking. Oh my god, that looks insane. We can now cook summer pie. Oh my god, dude. 95 cooking, my highest skill on this account after almost 2 years. That is so crazy, dude. And we didn't even have to use my backup method, which maybe I'll throw some footage on here of what I was planning to do. Thankfully, we had plenty of sweet corn left over, but now it is time to cook the summer pie, the pie that we have done all this for. The ingredients for this pie are pretty simple, just a bunch of fruit. The reason that this pie was a chunk task from this chunk in particular was because we didn't have access to strawberries or watermelons before, but now with the farming patch, we can grow both of those, which is where I got these. So yeah, let's throw a summer pie together, not an apple pie. And there we go, 2 raw summer pies. Hopefully I don't burn these. Okay, here we go. Do we cook one first try? Please, please, back in the Anil kitchen where I got it all started. Let's go. Summer pies, these are so good. Wait, look at this. This is what makes these so insanely useful. These act as not only food, but also an agility boost and a run energy restore. So this is my first consistent way to restore run energy. These are genuinely one of the most powerful food items in the entire game, and now I can make as many as watermelons I can grow. Really, that's kind of the limiting factor here. But with all that said, that is the final chunk task of this area. The Artie farm chunk has been completed after more than a month. I'll say that for sure. Guess that means it's time to jump into the chunk picker and roll once again. Okay, here we are. Look at all of these chunks. So many scary ones, and really not that many good ones left. Oh, this is always so nerve-wracking. I've got my girlfriend here for emotional support.
Hi, everyone.
Please, no 12, 13, 15, 19. All of those are straight up death chunks. I don't want those. Oh, and if we get those, I'm gonna be so... I don't know what I'm gonna do. I genuinely don't know what I'm gonna do. Please, please, Sears Village. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Pick chunk. But please, something good. I'm so scared. Something good. That's it. That's 13. That's Taverly Dungeon. Okay. We actually rolled it. We actually rolled it. I guess no magic short bow. We gotta take it on, I guess. Look at those tasks. Insane. As you might be able to tell from the sound of my voice, this was the worst case scenario. My nightmare death chunk unlocked with nothing else to help me. I logged off for the rest of the day. Wow, this is an unreal feeling. Feels like I just lost the worst coin flip of my life. Obviously, I knew this was possible, but I'm just still in shock. I'm really disappointed that I didn't roll any other chunks that would make it easier. To make matters worse, my only way to get there is through this portal at the top of the Wizards Guild, and my only way back is a minigame teleport, which has a 20-minute cooldown. I haven't actually been back to this chunk since I rolled it. I think I was genuinely scared that if I came back here, it would somehow increase my odds of landing in Taverly. Obviously, that didn't matter in the end because here we go. The world of Taverly lies beyond this line. So many impossible challenges lie ahead, and there's really only one way forward. We gotta just do it. So let's unlock the chunk. Chunk unlocked. There it is. Taverly. With the chunk unlocked, let's talk about what the tasks are.
This chunk has quite a lot of depth to it, literally, as it has a massive underground area, so I'm just gonna list off the tasks now and we'll go into detail on them later. There are 3 new best in slot items to obtain. A rune chain body from a black demon, a rune longsword from a black dragon, and a rune knife, also from a black dragon. You know how much I love equipping myself with runes, so I am excited about these. And while they are rare drops, less than 1%, that's nothing compared to the tasks that make this chunk an absolute nightmare. I've mentioned them already, but the 1 in 32,768 smoldering stone from hellhounds, and the 1 in 10,000 draconic visage from black dragons. The saddest part about these grinds is that these rare items do nothing on their own. They both modify other items, which I don't have. So while rare, they're unfortunately entirely useless to me. There's one more unique item to obtain, a scaly blue dragon hide from a blue dragon, which is thankfully far less rare. And there are 2 diary tasks. Chop and burn some willow logs in Taverly, which is super easy, and jump over the level 80 agility obstacle in the Taverly dungeon. Thankfully, I just unlocked a 5-level boost to agility using summer pies, meaning I only need 75 agility, but that's still gonna be a considerably long grind with my terrible methods. I'm gonna be honest, looking at these tasks, I know I'm gonna need your guys' support on this. I'm closer than ever to hitting my goal of 100,000 subscribers, and that YouTube play button would make all of the grinding that much more worth it. So please, for my sanity, if you'd hit that subscribe button, I'd really appreciate it. Before we go right down the ladder into the nightmare that is the dungeon, let's at least just poke around in the city that, I mean, honestly, it's a pretty nice city. I do like it here. I wish that it wasn't tied to such a brutal list of tasks. This is the area where you can start the herblore skill normally. And if you're wondering why that isn't part of the task list, well, the only reason is because the actual quest start is right over there. Just about everything else is in this chunk. Taverly is just one of those very unusual and little visited towns that has some forgotten stuff, like this store right here. This is a two-hander shop. Adamant two-hander. I don't know, there might be something there. Pretty cool. Definitely would have been useful in the past. It's also full of druids. Not sure who these guys are. Couple of different houses. They got a lot of cups of tea laying around. Cups of tea are kind of useful. They give a small attack boost. And look what's on the ground up here. Wouldn't you know it? A regular short bow. Well, if we didn't have a ranged weapon before, we would have now, but thank God that's not the weapon we have to use for this chunk, because ranged is going to be incredibly important for most of the chunk tasks here, and this would have been such a weak weapon. A lot of people probably know this guy, Jetix. He sells a bunch of herblore supplies, important for the future of the account for sure, if we do ever unlock herblore. Like all these little, I don't know, mini houses, they're classic RuneScape architecture, buildings that have no purpose and nothing relevant in them. Gotta love it. As we keep exploring, there is one really important thing I'm noticing that I kind of forgot was in this chunk. This tree patch. This is another huge way that I can get farming XP. This should help me get to my 82 farming goal way faster, actually. Wait. I have a ton of bird's nests in my bank. Okay, there's a benefit for sure. And not that it matters much, but I can at least walk through this gate. Yeah, there's nothing that I can do out here, but it is kind of funny. I know we just got here and I'm still a little bit depressed that I'm here at all, but what would a Josh video be without fun facts? There's still more to see, but let's do a quick fun Taverly fact. First, a question. Did I spell Taverly right? Well, maybe, but only if it's still 2002 where you are. In old school, Taverly has another E in it, while the RuneScape Classic map has the shorter spelling. Speaking of Classic, this city has a very interesting history attached to it. On February 27th, 2002, RuneScape saw a huge change. For the first time, parts of the game were locked behind this fancy new thing called membership. They were locked behind it both figuratively and literally, as they added this big gate to the game that only members could pass through. And it had a bunch of new content behind it, including Taverly, White Wolf Mountain, and Catherby. It's interesting to think that I'm now exploring Taverly in the same way that RuneScape's earliest members did over 20 years ago. It was literally the first thing they ever did as members, crossing this now infamous gate and discovering the city of druids. And much to my delight, many of the things added to the game at that time haven't been changed much since then. I can't wait to discover all the old jank hidden in this area. Anyway, I think we've seen most of what there is to do here. There's a quest in this house that I can't reach, and there's the house portal that I also can't reach. And, well, okay, actually, there is one other thing. Oh, wait. Oh my god, wait. This is the crystal chest. Oh my god, I can actually open this, can't I? I could get some interesting stuff from here. Wait, that's actually really funny.
If you don't know, this is the crystal chest, and it can only be opened with the crystal key, which you have to make by combining the tooth half and loop half of a key, found extremely rarely throughout various activities in the world. Luckily enough, I do have some of these in my bank that I've been gathering for what I thought was no reason, but now I'm actually gonna get to use them. I am gonna have to go get them from my bank though, and since there isn't one connected to this area, doing a bank run is a bit more involved than normal, so we'll have to do that in a sec. Last couple of areas I haven't explored, like this peninsula. I love how it looks, but I can't actually do anything here. This Lady of the Lake NPC is for a quest that I can't start, and really that's how so much of this area is. It's like I have one half of 10 different things, but can't actually complete any of them.
Okay, enough stalling. Down the ladder. Oh man,
Taverly dungeon, we're finally here.
Oh, I guess I unlocked a new music track when I came down here called Courage. Yeah, that's right. I friggin' need courage to take on these grinds.
To drive home the point of just how massive this dungeon truly is and how many monsters it holds, I'm gonna give you a little tour and walk you through each room. We'll get introduced to a lot of the different chunk tasks, and I'll give you a few stats on each different type of enemy. The first challenge we come across is not actually a monster, but an agility obstacle. Actually, 2 agility obstacles. One of which is this pipe right here. These allow for much faster traversal of the dungeon, and one of them, this strange floor right here, represents my largest skilling chunk task for the entire chunk, level 80 agility. Last I left off, I got myself to level 67 agility, but that's still gonna be a pretty massive grind. We're gonna save that for a little bit later. We're passing an important room in the quest to unlock herb lore that hopefully I'll actually get to use someday. But besides that, there's some ghosts and some skeletons in this hallway, neither of which have any notable drops. So we're just gonna ignore them entirely.
You love to see that. Just some random guy in an orange cape ranging a ghost 4 levels higher than him. Straight to the face. That is beautiful.
GL buddy.
A very familiar sight, the Chaos Druids. This is probably the most iconic place to kill these things, but seeing as how I already killed over 30,000 of them in my past life as a Unilian citizen, I'm not too excited about it. Here's an agility obstacle I actually do have the level to use, squeeze through this loose railing. This makes for a nice little shortcut when traversing this side of the dungeon and leads me right to these lesser demons. They're not new to this dungeon for me, I had one in the Wizard's Tower, but this is a more convenient way to access them. And then we get to this room, which is incredibly unique and cool looking, kind of for no reason. The only thing in it are these magic axes. They actually do have one interesting drop, although we already have it. It's the Rune Battle Axe at 1 in 500. Still, I've always wondered why this room is so particular looking. It's like a castle basement or something. Like, why is it part of this dungeon? It's just another one of those classic old school dungeon design quirks.
Okay, you know shit's starting to get real when there's a bunch of lava. Here we are getting to the deeper parts of the dungeon and we run into some chaos dwarves. These things do actually have some pretty unique drops, but none of them are super useful at this moment. What the? Wait, I've never noticed how goofy this bridge is. Look, it's like 1 pixel deep. See, Taverly Dungeon is another one of those places, a lot like the Yanil Dungeon, that just feels like it hasn't been touched in years, and I love that. Here's something I'm guessing just about everyone has forgotten, which is there are actually hill giants in here too, the very south of the dungeon, just above the Black Knight base. This is just such a cool area, genuinely is. Like, dude, look at that. I don't know if I've ever actually seen this. Like, the game doesn't even make you care about this, but look how cool this table is. It's giant. It has a bunch of candles on it. This place is sweet. It's also absolutely full of Black Knights, which unfortunately, much like pretty much everything else we've seen so far, have no notable drops. And there we go, we've got the Dusty Key. Any old school enjoyers of RuneScape know the Dusty Key lets you get further into the Taverly Dungeon. We're gonna leave this Black Knight area behind and probably never come back here. I know that sounds weird, but there's just nothing to do here, which is really too bad because it's so cool. But now that we have this key, we can get further into the dungeon, and I'll show you the door that it unlocks. This door right here leads us into the serious parts of this dungeon. I've got to be very careful here as I don't have an anti-dragon fire shield, and without that, these dragons can hit over 50 damage with their fire breath attack, unless I'm praying against magic. Okay, we made it through the blue dragons. These things are kind of interesting. Like all dragons, they drop their bones and their hides, which are inherently useful, but blue dragons drop a unique item called a scaly blue dragon hide, which because it's unique, it's actually a chunk task to get. So we will be back here to kill some of these, but not too many of them, as it's only a 1 in 50 drop. We are officially about to cross the threshold into the truly high level area of this dungeon. Everything from this point forward is incredibly dangerous, and it's where most of our chunk tasks come from. First up are these black demons, which have surprisingly few good drops aside from the one chunk task, which is a rune chain body. I am genuinely excited to get that from these guys, and I know I'm gonna need a safe spot because they hit like absolute trucks. There's gotta be a safe spot somewhere in here, maybe back here or something like that. Range will be critical here, but I've never actually realized how many of these there are. There's so many. Now, hopefully we can get through to the rest of the dungeon without taking too much damage or being poisoned, or I don't know, a lot of bad things could happen from here on out. So let's be super careful. Oh, I'm about to run out of run energy. No, that is not good. This is the wrong place to run out of run energy. Currently surrounded by poison spiders, which have no drops, but as their name suggests, are poisonous, which makes getting to this last room of the dungeon super annoying. Okay, snuck by that poison spider. The monks of Zamorak, will they attack me? Let's find out. They're neutral. Okay, looks like we can chill here for a sec and restore some run energy. These monks of Zamorak unfortunately have no unique drops, which is too bad because this is the only place in the game where there are these level 45 versions. But while we're here, we can see these black dragons are going to be the source of so much pain for me. An insane amount of time is going to be spent killing these black dragons and chasing one of the rarest items in the game that just comes from a normal monster drop, the Draconic Visage. I can't believe I actually have to kill these things. They're so strong. Level 227. Bro, Chunky Nil, he's used to killing dwarves. They're level 10. Man, they're level 2. I'm not cut out for this. Thankfully, I know there is a safe spot over here. Ranging them here near the Obelisk of Fire will be super critical for the future of this account, especially since not only do they have the Draconic Visage, but they also have two other chunk tasks. A rune longsword for a new weapon upgrade, and a rune knife for a new best in slot ranged weapon. But of course, there's something potentially even scarier than the dragons. Oh my god, I just got bonked for 20. The Hellhounds. These are literally the chunk man's bane. These things have a 1 in 30,000 drop rate item that I'm gonna need to try to get. I'm gonna say try to get. I don't know if there's even a realistic way for that to happen, but I'm gonna need to try to figure it out if there is. They also drop hard clues at a pretty common rate, which might impact the future of the account, but that's definitely gonna be something we'll have to see later. And the very final area of this dungeon is this little cave here. This leads to the lair of Cerberus, a level 91 Slayer boss that, I don't think we're ever going to be killing on this account, but at least this is somewhere safe for us to stand for the moment. And with that, the new chunk is pretty much fully explored, and now we gotta figure out what to do about all of these grinds. Oh god, where do I even start? Okay, let's break it down into some more manageable steps. We can't just jump at everything head on. I think the first thing we're gonna wanna do is open up all these bird nests and hopefully see a ton of tree seeds that I can plant. If you remember from a couple episodes ago, I did a ton of woodcutting and got all these birds' nests, almost 300 of them. These are realistically the only way for me to get tree seeds, so I'm glad I have a lot of them. Reminder that I can't actually plant any of the fruit tree seeds, so the only ones we're really looking for are the normal tree seeds, acorns, willows, yews, and maples. Final inventory of birds' nests. That was 300 hours of woodcutting all in one go, and let's take a look what we got. 66 acorns, 40 willow seeds, 19 maples, 8 yews, and 3 magics. It looks like these are gonna add up to about 300k farming XP. Honestly, a little bit less than I thought. It's only about 15% of the grind, but still, that's 15%. That is something super simple happening in the background. Of course, before I can plant any of those tree seeds in the ground, I have to stick them all into plant pots, which is going to be very thrilling. And then water them all. Yippee! And before we head back to Taverly, I got out all of my tooth and loop half of the keys and can finally turn them into some crystal keys. This is honestly so crazy. It's not something I ever really thought about using. I was just kind of collecting them for fun. Thankfully, the contents of this chest don't actually make for chunk tasks because getting the crystal keys is not chunk specific and there's no real way to guarantee that you'll get them. These have been collected over literally 2,000 hours of gameplay and I only have 6 of them, so yeah, that kind of tells you how rare they really are.
All right, the inventory is set up for a trip into the Taverly dungeon for real, featuring some farming with the oak saplings. We've got the baskets of tomatoes to pay the farmer to protect them, some food, and of course, all my crystal keys. We're living the same annoying life we have in the past with no bank deposit box. We're basically living the life of a UIM here. Hopefully that won't be much of an issue, but I could definitely see it being a problem. Man, it really feels good to have a new patch though. That is seriously very, very nice. And we'll plop this oak sapling in here and pay my man some tomatoes. There we go. Beautiful. I love being able to pay for my crops. It's not a luxury you always have as a one chunk man. Now that I am 100% assured that that will never die, I can run away and do some other stuff. I'm about to do something that I don't know how many other one chunk men can actually say they've done. Open up the crystal chest. There are a couple of armor upgrades in here that would be actually really nice to get. There's a very rare rune plate legs drop and a slightly lesser adamant square shield drop. But overall, the rest of the loot is pretty lackluster. But reminder that nothing that comes out of here is a chunk task. It's all just bonus loot. So what do we get? We get the spinach roll. Amazing. Now, every single open of this chest comes with an uncut dragonstone, which doesn't really mean much for me right now, but in the future, these are going to be super useful to have. All right, 5 more shots at an armor upgrade. Show me something good. Whoa, all of those runes, bro. Okay, yeah, I'll take those. That's actually really nice. What do we got? Let's see something good. More runes. I'll always take those. 3rd shot. I don't think I got much of anything. Yeah, I don't think I got anything. Okay, that is fine. Give me rune plate legs. Give me adamant square shield. Give me a random event. Okay, yeah, sure, random event. That's quite nice. Thank you very much. Let's see it. Yo, no way! Oh my god, wait, that's actually so sick. No way. Of course it's a plate skirt. Wait, that's so funny. That's actually so good. That's my new best in slot legs. Another rune item for the account. That's actually so rare. Oh, no way. Wait, what? That's so good. And I get to be rocking the plate skirt logo. Yeah, I get those exposed knees out. Bro, wait, that's so sick. Damn, that means we're gonna have nearly an entire set of rune armor before we leave this chunk. That is so cool. That was so not guaranteed. Maybe that's a good omen for this. Maybe that means that this is gonna go really, really well. Before we move on entirely from the crystal chest, I have another fun Taverly fact for you. A few months ago, I was scratching my itch for RuneScape history, just poking around on the RuneScape Classic wiki, and I discovered a rabbit hole that went so much deeper than I expected. Let's talk about Dragonstone. This purple gem existed back in the day and was only dropped by 4 of the most powerful monsters in the game, as they could access the rare drop table. However, as we just saw, a more reliable way to get Dragonstones is from the crystal chest. After all, key halves are also on the rare drop table and are much more common. Except, back in RuneScape Classic, the crystal chest had a massive problem. You see, people discovered that if you open the crystal chest and then log out before it closes automatically, it would just stay open, meaning no one could loot it again. Once word spread of this glitch, griefers went around and got the chest stuck open on every single world. And once it was open, it would be stuck that way forever. And I mean forever. This was at a point when RuneScape Classic was no longer being updated, so it didn't even get reset on server updates. So for literal years, the crystal chest was basically deleted from the game. Any crystal keys were useless, and the biggest source of Dragonstone, which was used to make the most powerful amulet in the game, was gone. And the craziest part? Jagex simply never fixed it. Well, except for once, accidentally. In 2018, a system update reset the servers for all versions of RuneScape, including Classic, and the chests were closed for the first time in years. Most players rushed to use their crystal keys, while others swiftly moved to grief the chests once again. In the end, this was all taking place long after RuneScape Classic's heyday, and with its small player base in the 2010s, the actual number of players impacted wasn't that high. Still, the story of the crystal chest lives on in infamy as one of the craziest unfixed glitches in RuneScape history. Okay, that inventory was getting a little too clogged, so we just reset, and let's give it another shot. Down into the Taverly dungeon for real this time. Thankfully, we have our range gear here. It's literally just 20,000 iron arrows and a dream. This gear is really not gonna cut it in the long term for this grind, but it's just gonna have to do, I guess. All right, here we go. Time to run all the way around, I suppose. Still don't have the agility level for this obstacle pipe. And we are here.
Yeah, that's not gonna cut it for every time we need to run down here. One of the big reasons that we're gonna need some agility levels ASAP. So I don't really know where it makes sense to start, but I do want to see how slow it is to kill these black demons, and maybe we can get lucky on a quick chunk task for them with that rune chain body. Well, that's easy. There's a really simple save spot right there. So yeah, I'll let you know how this goes after it's done in like 10 minutes. And there we go. 3 minutes almost. We have to kill over 100 of those to hopefully see this rune chain body, so stay at it. So my farming is done, but getting in and out of here is just totally unsustainable at this point. The run is so long. I think I need to get some agility levels before I can really commit to this grind. Okay, I actually lied. I couldn't help myself from coming back down here and getting a few more kills. It's honestly just really fun. But if I don't see the rune chain body quickly, I am gonna stop. No way, dude. Tooth after the key off of a black demon? My RNG is going insane already. That's literally like a 1 in 700, and I've killed like 15 of them. I think I have some leftover loop halves, so I guess we get to open the crystal chest yet another time already. That's actually really fun. All right, another shot at the chest. Don't really know what I want this time, given that we already got the rune item from this thing, but let's see what we get. Wait, what? No way! That is the one other thing I actually wanted. Adamant Square Shield, that's my current best in slot shield. What? Oh, that's so funny. The RNG from the crystal chest is extremely good. Also, coming back to the city, I think I may have been too hasty to dismiss Taverly as being useless. I didn't actually look into the druids drop table, but these guys drop druid robes, which are kind of like a budget monk robe. Druid robes have prayer bonus, which is something that I've really struggled to get on this account, so I think I want to get those before I do anything else. And as new best in slots, that kind of makes them sort of a chunk task. Well, that was fast. Druid's robe top. Look at that, actually looks really nice. Just a couple kills in. Wow, that literally took like 10 kills. Druid's robe bottom acquired as well. Look at those robes, man. Those are so cool. Who has worn these in the last like 10 years, for real? But each piece gives +4 prayer bonus, which more than doubles the amount of prayer bonus I had on all slots before. So that's actually really nice to have for anything I want prayer for in the future. If you don't know, prayer bonus makes your prayers last longer, so super useful. Another thing these guys drop, albeit rarely, is anti-poison, which I never had a consistent method to get until now. Unfortunately, it's less than a 1% drop from them, but in a world where I need to cure poison consistently, I theoretically can. And I had to pick up a little ranged level right there. Totally got the text box skip, but there is 65 ranged off the druids. The black demons are a little out of my league at the moment. I've been losing a ton of ammo on them because they take so long to kill. So I think I'm gonna shoot for some easier chunk tasks just to get something done before this episode is over. I think the place that makes the most sense to start is these blue dragons. They're considerably weaker than the black demons, and they have a pretty easy chunk task, a 1 in 50 drop of their unique item, the scaly blue dragon hide. Feels really good to be killing dragons for the first time on this account. This is like Chunkino's version of completing Dragon Slayer. Feels like we're finally making it out of pure noobdom. And this is a pretty familiar sight for me. I've definitely spent a lot of time killing dragons right here at this exact safe spot before, so I'm feeling pretty comfortable. There we go, the first dragon ever slain by Chunkino. Look at that, dragon bones, blue dragon hide. Oh man. These are gonna be so fun to kill. And if I ever make it out of this chunk, I'm gonna need these dragon bones to continue progress in the Watchtower quest that's been on the back burner for like 2 years. First inventory of dragons done. You love to see all this loot. Definitely gonna be banking all these blue dragon hides for future crafting. As a reminder, the only reason I don't have to craft anything with these is that I don't actually have access to thread. So I can't make any dragon leather armor, which is honestly too bad because it would be really useful for these grinds. While we've still got some easy tasks to knock out, got one right here. Check the health of a willow tree. Wait, what? Just kidding. It's not to use the farming patch, it's just to chop some trees in Taverly. Yeah, I'm smart. I'm a really good gamer, good chunk man, yeah. Okay, we'll return to that in a sec once I can get a tinderbox from my bank, because once again, I'm living this annoying semi-UIM bankless life. For now, I'm gonna see if I can get this blue dragon chunk task done. Hey, and there it is, the scaly blue dragon hide. A unique item only dropped by blue dragons. That is a unique item gained and a chunk task complete.
And with that, we're pretty much done killing blue dragons. I don't think I'll ever need to come back and kill these guys for any reason. On to other chunk tasks. Okay, we are back with a tinderbox. The fact that there's no bank over here really makes everything more complicated than it needs to be. I'm always getting around with my minigame teleport, which is just constantly on cooldown. But here is an actual chunk task complete. There we go. Chop and burn some logs in Taverly. Easy peasy when you actually read the task. I think the next most reasonable task to try to take on is the agility grind, so if you need me, I'll be down here with my disgusting highlighted tiles crossing this ledge over and over, and hopefully not going insane. Before we go, let's recap where this chunk is at. Yes, we rolled a death chunk, and yes, it's going to be grueling, but progress is progress. There are 8 core tasks here, and we've completed 2 of them. There's easily over 1,000 hours of combat on the horizon, but that's why it's called a death chunk. There's only one way forward, and who knows, maybe we can break the game again. Make sure you're subscribed because I have a feeling this chunk has a few secrets up its sleeve for us to discover. But until next time, thanks for watching, and bye-bye.